Now we are joined by Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning.
It's my pleasure.
Well, I know you're a busy woman these days, and it's hard to believe it's just in the next week you're going to be celebrating 1-year anniversary of taking over as Chicago mayor, and it's ending with a pandemic, something there's no playbook for. How has this year been for you?
Well, it's gone by amazingly fast. And even in the midst of this pandemic, I feel honored and humbled every single day that residents of the city have entrusted me with the incredible honor of being the mayor.
It seems like it's going to be a bit before we turn the corner on testing and so forth. And I wonder, as it gets warmer and more people are just going to go outside, are you willing to make a rest?
Well, I don't think that we're going to need to do that. And look, the reality is, springtime and summer in Chicago is when the city really comes into its own. It's what the seasons that distinguish us from other parts of the country. I absolutely understand those urgings, and I feel that way myself. We will start to slowly reopen. I have every confidence that that's going to happen beginning in June. But we've got to make sure that we're continuing to educate people about the importance of social distancing. We also need to educate folks around vulnerable populations and the particular risk that this virus poses for them. We've been looking at a lot of studies that are coming out about the virtue of coming together in open spaces with social distancing and limitations on capacity. And we're going to factor that into the guidance that we give to the city as we start to slowly reopen.
So despite the fact that, we clamped down, or Chicago clamped down on everything right away with the stay-at-home orders, Cook County has now surpassed Queens County, New York for the most, having the most COVID-19 cases. I know we have a lot more population, but does that mean we did things right and it would have been worse, or do you think we hit it too hard?
Well, I mean, Cook County, I think, is like 2 times the size of Queens, New York's, or Queens County. So I don't think it's an apples-to-apples comparator. Look, these circumstances are very complicated. We have a lot of congregate settings. Cook County has a jail. That's certainly been an ongoing struggle for the county. But what we know is that we've made incredible progress over the arc of these 6-8 weeks because people have followed the guidance. The vast majority of people in Chicago, and I think the same is true for Cook County, have followed the guidance that staying home truly saves lives. And we're going to need to continue to make sure that we emphasize those core principles. If you're sick, staying home. If you've got upper respiratory, heart disease, diabetes, you are vulnerable. You're going to need to stay home. Social distancing, no matter what, until there's a vaccine, is going to be something that we are living with every single day until that time. And we've got to be smart about the way in which we come back together. We've got to do it slowly, carefully, thoughtfully, and with an eye towards the public health data.
There's an economic component to all this. The city is losing tax revenue on top of the economic problems the city and state already have. And I think a lot of viewers feel like, how do you ask for more tax revenue when seemingly the elected leaders for the past many years have not managed the money we've given you wisely?
Well, look, I can't account for what happened before, but what I've done since I got into office is said this: we look internally first. We look to see how we can run city government more efficiently without draconian cuts in services. And we closed $1 billion budget deficit last year by following straightforward guidance that we took and felt the pain first before we went out and asked the members of our city to take another hit. We're going to take the exact same approach in thinking about what the impact is on this year's budget and what the impact is on the 2021 budget. But there's no doubt this has been a significant impact. We've had major sectors of our economy closed down now for 2 months. And absolutely, there's been significant impact. We're still quantifying it, and we will be reporting out first to City Council and then to members of the public about what we believe the measure of the impact has been. But there's no doubt that it's been impact, and I think people understand that. But I also believe that we have to look to government to be a stimulus for the economy and not just cut. And we also can't impose more of a tax burden on folks unless we have done all the other hard steps and made the hard decisions first and communicated with the public along the way. People understand that this is a tough time for everybody. Everybody has felt impact of the virus itself, the anxiety, the trauma, the fear, and of course the economics of this has hit virtually every household in our city. So we are going to be looking at revenue issues in the context of that reality.
Let me ask you something. Darlene Glanton, a columnist from the Tribune, wrote something yesterday criticizing you for being harder on black youths that are not following the stay-at-home orders than other groups. She says some think you're acting more like a bully than a concerned mayor. Is there any truth to that?
No, I frankly take great offense at that. I'm a black woman in this city growing up, and when I see those young people, I see myself, I see my nieces, I see my nephews, and I have been equally tough and candid with every group all over the city. Now, I can't account for what the media picks up on, but the reality is, you look at the numbers, the dispersal orders that are going out on a daily basis are going out in every segment of the city, north, south, east, and west, because the challenges are present in every sector of our city, north, south, east, and west. And so I have spoken personally, been out in the streets all over the city, not just in Black and on the west side of Chicago. So I would ask the columnists with due respect, look at the data, look at the numbers, follow what I'm doing, what I'm saying, because I'm everywhere. This is a challenge all over the city, not just among Black millennials.
When you look at numbers, when you look at money, the issue of transparency comes up, and it seems like inspectors general have always been toothless in this city. What are you doing to change that?
Well, I don't think that's true at all. Talk to the aldermen, talk to other people who've been the subject of inspectors general's investigations. Toothless is not the word that I think anybody would associate with the city inspector general, the CPS inspector general, or any of the other inspector generals across the city. That's just not the history of things. Certainly not in recent years here in Chicago. Far from it.
The interim police chief, Beck, was saying that there are two pandemics in this city, and only one of them is virus-related. With crime and violence, I know it seems like you're trying to work on two fronts while you're dealing with a pandemic, but is there a plan going forward?
There's a plan every day.
Yeah.
Of course. And yes, look, every single day we're working on, scores of issues. And of course, the primary focus is on the pandemic, but also gun violence. Gun violence is not abated, and there's a plan every single day that gets adjusted, that gets recalibrated, depending upon what the circumstances are. But overall, this is a very difficult time to do local policing. We look at the realities. The courts are closed. The jails are effectively closed. The prosecution doesn't want to bring people into court. So the Chicago Police Department, from a law enforcement perspective, when our federal partners are also effectively at home, they're on the front lines essentially by themselves. And there are, of course, human beings who worry about getting infected. They worry about bringing something back to their families, and we absolutely understand that. But I have to commend Superintendent Brown and the leadership, because they have stepped up, even in the midst of this difficult circumstance, and come up with, I think, some innovative ideas to be present and visible in surges in areas of the city that are really challenged by violence. And we're starting to see results, and we will continue to calibrate and build in additional assets at the district level so district commanders have all the tools that they need to be able to fight crime and make our communities safe in the middle of this pandemic.
There is a new president of the FOP Police Union who's a bit controversial, has a history of behavior issues, I guess you would say, and he's been critical of you. Apparently, many officers support him as they voted for him. How does this impact police reform, and have you had a conversation with him yet?
I have texted with him, and I expect to be meeting with him sometime next week. But police reform is full steam ahead. We can't afford to turn back, and we won't turn back. We have to make sure that we are living up to the obligations of the consent decree. And I don't think we've made nearly the progress that we need to make. I talk about that with Superintendent Brown. You know, he's obviously relatively new in the chair, but the people who have been running police reform and working on the consent decree are not. And they need to step up. And if they're not going to step up, then we're going to find other leadership. But we are not taking any steps back on police reform and accountability, primarily because if the police department doesn't have legitimacy in the eyes of the residents of this city, it cannot effectively do its job to serve and protect our residents. So reform is a critical component in that legitimacy, and we're not moving backwards.
Well, before we let you go, we have to ask you about these memes that are all over the place, and they still continue to go. And I've just, you know, it's really taken on a life of its own. I know you're still concerned about shutting things down, and people are still asking, you know, when the lakefront is going to open. But I'm wondering what your response is to how this has really gone viral.
You know, I have to say I've had a lot of fun with them, and I think they kind of sprung up organically. You're showing some of my favorite ones.
They're great.
I mean, they're hilarious. And you got to give it to the innovation of the people here in Chicago. I've seen myself in a lot of places, including inside refrigerators, on the tops of buildings. It's been a lot of fun. We've leaned into it ourselves with some memes and I think funny messages of our own around staying home and saving lives, the census. You got to have some humor in the face of this really serious, challenging moment for all of us. This pandemic is a challenge of a lifetime, and the fact that people can still find ways to smile and really capture the imagination of the community, my hat's off to them.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and good luck to you. It is not an easy job that you're doing, and we appreciate you joining us this morning.
Well, I appreciate the time, and I just want to say to your viewers, please be safe this weekend. Stay the course. We're making progress, but we still have some steps to take on our journey. But thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Mayor Lightfoot.
Yes, thank you.
Hey,